Basically, there are four things in the IELTS: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Okay. First, I'll come to the listening part. To prepare well for the listening, you must practice. 9 out of 9 has been achieved by many students. Many students. I have lost count. It's very, very easy. You have to do two things. First is ear training, and the second is spellings. Okay. So for the ear training, you have to listen to the same recording again and again and again. Not do the listening. I don't want you to do the listening every time, because at your age, I think um, remembering the answers will be very easy, right? So you'll not get any fun out of doing the same listening. You'll be knowing the answer. All I want you to do is ear training, which means listen to the recording so many times that each and every word spoken falls on your eardrum like a bombshell. Okay. And the second thing that you should know, because you'll hear the words, what will happen is if your spellings go wrong, if you put an extra S anywhere, you will not get any credit for that. So what you need to do is you need to have good hold on your spellings. So I'm going to ask you 5 or 10 spellings here. One by one, you will reply. Um, so tuition, first word. Yes, Karthik, what are the spellings?
TUTION, madam.
All right, Jinsi, what are the spellings of tuition? Karthik, those are wrong. Yes, Jinsi?
Uh,
TUTION.
Wrong again. Andrea?
Hello?
Yes.
TUITION.
Yes, it's Tuition. Okay, so spellings, you'll hear the word, but if you put it up with the wrong spellings there, you'll not get any credit for that. The second word is accommodation. Harsimar, please speak out the spellings.
Ma'am, can you repeat the word?
Accommodation.
ACCOMODATION.
Wrong. Uh, Jaspreet.
Ma'am, ACCOMMODATION.
Yes, correct. Double M. Okay, it's double M. ACCO not single M. Okay,
Okay,
these
ma'am.
are very commonly seen in the listening. These words, okay, all these I'm asking you are very commonly seen. So what you have to do is you may not practice many listenings, but whatever you practice, practice them time and again and do the spellings of the common words that are likely to be seen. I've got a file of about 1,000 most commonly repeated words in the IELTS listening. And just request me if anyone needs that file, I'll put it up. All right. All right. Okay. Next word I'm going to ask is separate. Shalini, spellings of separate. Just Karan.
SEPARATE.
Good. Separate. Separate. Okay. These are also very commonly misspelled. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you the spelling of vacuum. Vacuum, Karthik.
Madam, VACCUM.
Andrea.
VACWM.
Yes. So it is double U. Okay. Only three words are there which have two U's together. Does anyone know the other two words?
Could you repeat the question again?
There are total three words in the whole of English language which have two U's together in them. Do you know the other two words? One is vacuum. Interesting, right? And no one knows? Okay. The second is continuum and the third is residuum. Okay. These two words are Latin words, not likely to be seen in the IELTS, but well, it's an interesting thing to know that in the whole big English language with more than 80,000 words, there are three words which have two used together, only three words. All right. The next word is cigarette. So, Deep, can you speak the spellings of cigarette? All right, Jinsey. Aina.
Sing.
Yes, just breathe. Jinsey, yes.
C
Cigarette,
I C
yes.
I CIGARRE
Very,
Cigarette.
very good, very good. Good. All right. So, two things for the listening, and you'll be able to crack it. Had one student way back from a Punjabi medium background, and she got an 8.5 in listening. Until then, none of my students had crossed an 8 band. So I was very happy, and I told her, like, Beta, how did you prepare for it? Like, how did you do it? She says, Ma'am, you told us about ear training. And the first listening that I did, I had to repeat it 40 times. Imagine she gave one whole week to that, listening over and over through that, listening again and again and again. And the second listening, I had to listen back 20 times. By the end of 10th listening, I only had to listen it 2 or 3 times to understand each and every word. So ear training part she took care of, spelling she was good at, and she got an 8.5. 9 out of 9, endless students have got, many students have got. So one thing is in your hand, no institute, no teacher can help you, but you yourself can help you. Do practice one listening every day and do listen to it again and again till you are familiar with the accent and you are familiar with the what they are speaking. All right. Now we come to one thing is done. Now we come to the second thing, that is reading. Now reading is, that reading and I think writing are two things which students find very intimidating. The most difficult part of IELTS reading is time management. And of course, those who have good English can do it very well. But generally, for reading, there are no shortcuts, there are no tips and tricks. The three P's are going to help you. Can anyone tell me what are the three P's? The first P is practice.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yes, exactly. Practice, practice, and practice. And go doing about these readings again and again. For the academic students, we have compiled about 62 readings in our three volumes, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. And 70-80% chances are that one of the passages will be there. Sorry for that. So 70-80%. One of the passages you will see. So if you have done those readings again and again, don't mug up the answers because something may be different in the actual exams. Those passages have been reproduced by students after coming out of the examination hall. So there may be some difference in any question. Don't mug up. Do them nicely. Develop your reading, develop your vocabulary from those readings. And the best way to do reading is, now listen carefully. These tips go for the average students. When you do one reading, you know what students do? They'll do one reading. They'll come and tell me after 10 days, ma'am, my score is just the same. I can do just 20, 21 correct. So what they do is first day they'll do a reading, they throw it away, pick up the next reading, do it, throw it away, pick up the third reading. This is not the way to do reading. When you pick up a complete reading for 1 hour, you do all the three passages within 1 hour. If you cannot do, well and good, but after 1 hour, check your answers. Whatever answers you've gone wrong in, mark them wrong, and in front of them, keep the correct answers. Then the second thing you have to do is spend another 20-30 minutes going into the depth of each wrong answer that you have done and why you got it wrong, why the right answer is right and why your answer is wrong. Go into the strategy of that, go into the depth of that. All right. After that, the third thing that you have to do is whatever you could not do earlier because of time management, complete those questions, then check them. This will take you more time. And then finally, pick up the whole reading again, mark all the words which were new to you, list them in a notebook, write their meanings in front of them. So one reading may take you initially 3 to 4 hours. If you will do it like that, every single reading you will do, you will find an improvement in you. If you will just do pick up one, throw it, pick up the second, throw it, that will not lead to any improvement. Okay? You may get right, 30 out of 40 one day, and the second day, next day again, it may be just 22, 23. So that is not the way to do it. Do all the readings like that. Initially, spend a lot of time on those readings and then see your progress in 15 days. I bet you will definitely see a change, a progress in yourself. You will feel more confident. It's a feeling that should come from inside you. Okay? So that is all about reading. And there are all the types of questions that are there. And one thing I must tell you that the class that Indrup takes at 6 p.m. for reading, I'm very proudly saying that he's a very good teacher of reading. He himself has taken the test twice. Both the times it was 9 in reading. And you know what he tells me, he could do it within 45 minutes. That is because his base is good. But then when he teaches his students, they tell me that the concepts become very clear. If any one of you has attended his classes in the evening, you can vouch for that, the way he teaches. Any one of you has attended his classes?
Yes, ma'am.
You have attended, Aina.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Deep, you've also attended. So the way he teaches, doesn't it make a difference?
Yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting. And he gives you the insight into how to go about every answer, even in the true, false, not given, how to approach in the multiple choice questions, how to approach the questions. So just follow, attend those classes, you'll definitely be benefited. Okay. And do one whole reading every day the way I have told you. Okay. Spend time on it. Okay. That will definitely help you. All right. So next. I was wondering where this thing has gone. Okay. So next, we are done with reading. Karthik, is it clear?
Yes, madam.
All right. So you've opted for the reading feedbacks also, na? So I've shared one books readings with you. Do one
Yeah.
reading nicely. Tell me all the answers you went wrong in. I'll give you the feedback of those. Okay. But
Okay,
then spend more time on that same reading before moving on to the next reading. Only then there will be a marked improvement. Okay. And
Okay.
all of you who are aiming a 7 or 7 plus, reading and listening are the two modules which are in your hands. Nobody can snatch away what you do in these two modules. These are your bands, and you will get what you have done over there. You will get your deserved score. Writing and speaking is a subjective marking. Just now, earlier I used to, keep a track of all the students who go for a reval, and then their band score rises. So now I have lost the track, and they were like in 2019, before the COVID, that year, 75 students went for a reval, about 70 my students. I'm talking of my students, because I knew what level they are, how they write, how they speak. So I would tell them go for a reval if the band score was below what I expected them to get, and 72 out of 75 got a band raise. Okay, that was a big number, but that was because I would know what they have done, and many students would ask me, ma'am, should we go for a reval? So I would tell them go or not, don't go for a reval. Only then that would work. Recently, one of my students from my Jalandhar center, she went for a reval. She surprisingly had far less than what I expected. She had 6 in writing and 6 in speaking. So I said, okay, if any half band also increases, your money will come back. Please go for a reval. Please go, because it is 12,000 something. So it was a lot of money involved. But yes, if your band score goes up, you get the money back. So she applied for a reval, and imagine what her result was: from 6 to 7.5 in writing and from 6 to 6.5 in speaking. This was, a huge difference. And I even, had a fight with the IDP people that what sort of examiners they have there, what they are doing. And obviously, not everyone can go for a reval. So those are subjective marks. Reading and listening are yours. No one can snatch them away. For the last 18 years, I have never seen any band raise in reading or listening. So if you are getting less than your expectation, you have done something wrong there. Trust me for that. Even if you apply for a reval, it is not going to help. Okay, only in writing and speaking, you can, if you think you have done better, you should go for a reval. Okay, and that is subjective marking. So if you get around, if you hear, if I give you, short 7.5, you'll get that much, because I also give half less than what the student deserves, because I don't want to give false hopes, because there the examiner is, it's a subjective marking. I always give a range. Okay, today your writing is between 6.5 and 7. Now it depends on the examiner. Okay, so that is how you have to go about it. So for reading and listening, these two things, it is your, your effort and your band score. If you get less, that means you have done something wrong. In reading, many students come and tell me, ma'am, we have done everything right. I don't know why the band score is so less. They go for a reval despite my telling them not to, and nothing has ever changed till now. So, you have to see that if you don't know any answer, put a cross against that so that all the answers don't get written against the wrong numbers. These are common mistakes. Then if it is a true, false, not given question, don't write yes in front of true. Write true. True, false, and yes, no, not given. The yes, no will not work for true, false. So that will go wrong. You have to take care of these small things. Another thing, do all the answers in capitals. Okay, don't write in running hand in the listening and in the reading. Write all your answers in capital letters. Capital letters, generally don't go wrong. And when you write an I don't put a long dash on the top. It will look like a T. So I don't put lines on the bottom and top. Yes, Deep, you wanted to say something?
No, ma'am.
I would like to get an input from you. If any question comes in your mind, do let me know. And second thing, you are not supposed to write any brackets or anything in your answers. There are brackets in our listening books in the answer sheet, which mean that supposing the student has written student, that is also correct, and students is also correct. So the S we put in brackets just to tell the student that it is both are correct. So you do not have to put any bracket. If you will put a bracket, it will be totally wrong. Okay. Yes, there is a question in the chat box. How to practice essay. Yeah, I'm coming to that. I've just talked about the orientation of two things right now. That is reading and listening. Now, the third thing I'd like to talk about is speaking. Okay, speaking, it is 11 to 14 minutes. 11 to 14 minutes to tell the examiner you have English in you. Okay. And there is one student here, Andrea, the way you were speaking, my student, you should not get a less than 8.5. So what mistake mostly, they see, this is a subjective marking. That is what I was telling, that, if you're getting less than that, there's something, it's a subjective marking, either the examiner, it's up to the examiners. So definitely, I'll just tell you, don't go for big words, don't go for complex sentences. Just speak simple the way you speak. Your fluency really matters. Your pronunciation really matters. 25% marks are for the pronunciation. And so these things really matter. When you speak, if you are not focusing on the big words, your fluency will not, go less. And there is our guesswork of, PDF of the speaking topics. All the speaking topics in the book, you will get any one of them, that is for sure. So practice all of them in, just make up a story in your mind, that supposing you will get this cue card, you will speak this story. This is the story that you have cooked for that cue card. So that much homework you should do. Cue cards you can practice like that. And intro sets will last for, about um, uh, 4 to 5 minutes. There'll be about 4 to 5 or 6 small sets of questions, like talking about your hometown, about yourself, about your work, about your education, about flowers, about many things like that. So you'll have 3 to 4 questions of each set, and you have to speak on that. Um, you have to answer in one sentence or 2 sentences. Now, here also, many students have this misconception in their mind that this is just a one-line answer. So, if the examiner asks you, "May I know your full name?" I'll say, "I am Kiranpreet Kaur," and that's it, And then I'll wait for the examiner to ask the next question. That is totally wrong. Trust me for that. When the examiner asks you any question, keep on speaking till the examiner throws the next question at you. For example, if the examiner would ask me, "May I know your full name?" I'll say, "Oh, my full name is Kiranpreet Kaur. Kaur is the community to which I am born. Kiranpreet is a name given to me by my grandfather. The first alphabet was taken from the holy book. My mother tells me that my grandfather kept this name. I'm proud of my name. It brings in positive feelings from within me." See, what all? I made a cue card out of a simple question of what is your name. Students ask me, "Ma'am, name ko kaise expand kare?" So this is how you go about talking. Or you have, see, 11 to 14 minutes to tell the examiner you have English in you. So please speak till the examiner throws the next question. And when the examiner starts asking the next question, please stop. Okay. So that is about the intro sets. And in the intro sets, grammar really matters. It really counts. So there are very simple mistakes, common mistakes which students do. They'll say, "I am student." What do you do? Are you working? Or "I am student"? I am student. I am student and I am a student. 5.5 and 7. That is the difference. I'm telling you that. I am a student. Now, is just carrying with I am student, I am a student. These are simple mistakes. Here I would like to talk about. Here I would like to talk about pronunciation. Okay. Grammar, do you agree or say "I am agree"? Am agree is wrong. Okay. I agree. So grammar really matters in the intro sets. So do prepare those intro sets nicely. Have somebody ask you those questions. Try to speak naturally and calmly the answers to those. And if anybody is guiding you about your grammar, do go into the depth of those points of grammar is very vast. Grammar is very vast. Okay. So it is um, you know, not possible that you go into the depth of all the grammar, but grammar in context, whatever grammar is needed for these classes, for the IELTS, to crack the IELTS, do those. Subject verb agreement, for one thing, is very important. My mother go there, my mother do this. Singular is always followed by S or ES verb. So my mother does this. My mother goes to the Gurdwara daily. So subject verb agreement is very important. Then one very common mistake, which even the good students do at times, is in the reported speech. So my uncle told me you go there. My uncle told me to go there. My uncle told me you should work hard. My uncle told me that I should work hard. That is indirect speech. So do the direct speech and the indirect speech very nicely. Do the subject verb agreement very nicely. Do the places where "the" has to be used. So the Jalandhar, the Fagwara, the Chandigarh are all wrong. "The" is used before very few, cities and countries like the US, the UK, the UAE, the Middle East. So do those nicely. Do the rules of "the," do the articles "a," and "the." Do subject verb agreement. Passive voice is very important. Okay. And another thing of grammar is the indirect speech, the reported speech. So these are few things which are a must do for grammar. Forget all about the, tenses. Tenses is one thing. which intimidates your students have this feeling that if they don't know tenses, they don't know English, which is totally wrong. Now tell me one thing. When you started speaking your mother tongue, for example, in Punjab, it is Punjabi. When you started speaking Punjabi, did anyone tell you, okay, अब आपने past tense use करना है आप मैं वहाँ उत्थे गई सी. Now, doesn't it come naturally? So what I feel is that grammar is the bachda, and English is the guy. So guy जहाँ आगे आप बोलते रहोगे English बछड़ा पीछे पीछे आ ही जाएगा. The grammar will automatically come. Don't give grammar, too much importance in the beginning. Do these few things of grammar which I've told you. Forget about the tenses. They have to come naturally. They will come naturally. Okay, you spend 1 year on tenses, and after that, again, you will be making mistakes. Trust me for that. So, do the tenses as they come to you. Whatever are important, do those. Okay, and 12 tenses are not needed. And honestly speaking, they are the least important thing. Whenever you speak, there are certain words like past tense verbs you have to do. So there are certain classes of the formats of speaking I have made. If you will go to YouTube and search any speaking class of formats which I've taken, go through those 2-3 videos. I'm sure you will do the grammar that I'm telling you. That will be okay in those 2-3 videos. You'll learn what mistakes students do and where you have to work on. Okay. So formats are the questions that are commonly seen. How often? Do you often? The answers to these questions. Then did questions. There'll be 3 or 4 did questions in your intro sets. So when did you go to Amritsar? I went to Amritsar. That one word will be needed. Why did you choose these subjects? So most of the students will say, I choose these subjects, which is wrong. I chose these subjects because I found them interesting. So like that, do the did questions, then do have you ever questions. So have you ever, have questions are very interesting. If the question has a have in it, the examiner's English is being tested, because the examiner will always ask that question with the third form of the verb, because have is always followed by the third form of the verb. So have you written the essay? What you have to do is just blurt it out back. Yes, I have written the essay, or no, I haven't written the essay. So have written will remain the same. You just have to blurt it back. So you don't have to think about which verb tense you have to change or do. That will, examiner will put in the have question, whatever the examiner asks, just blurt it back in the same tone. So have you ever eaten Chipotle? No, I have never eaten Chipotle, or yes, I have eaten Chipotle 2-3 times. So, and this is especially because I wanted to teach students, no, I have never. When the answer is in the negative, the 4 words come together. No, I have never. Have you ever eaten Chipotle? No, I have never eaten. Eaten will remain the same. Chipotle, it's a Mexican dish. And so because I wanted to teach them the negative answer, so I have put this up in one of those questions. Okay. Have you ever been to Australia? No, I have never been to Australia. No, I have never. These 4 words will come together in the negative answer. In the positive answer, ever word will not come. So attend those formats classes. You will learn a lot from them, and they'll be very informative. In the cue card, of course, all the students prepare the cue cards well. Do all the cue cards in the PDF that we have from May to August. If you have to take the test within August, September PDF will be new. But we don't get the questions before 8th or 10th. By 8th or 10th, we'll be posting the new edition also, new version also. Okay. All right. And then we have the follow-up questions. Now, follow-up questions are very lengthy questions. They are, and for them, you need good ideas. Their grammar doesn't matter. What matters more is these are just, what I have picked up from how my students have been getting the band score. Those who understand the follow-up questions and answer them as per the requirement of the question get a good band score. They are lengthy questions. Most of the students, falter over there. So for them, ideas for essays we are going through, I'm for the past, I think a month or two, I've been taking up ideas for essays, and I always tell my students that is killing two birds with one stone. You are doing the follow-up questions as well as ideas for essays, because those questions are very lengthy. They are just essay questions. For example, they'll ask you that nowadays people are working from home. Do you think it's good or bad? So you can say there are many advantages of people working from home. Then you can say it saves time. Now, if you have those ideas in your mind, with very simple English, you can impress the examiner and get a good band score. So that is all about the speaking. Any queries in these three modules so far? You can ask me any question you have in mind that has cropped up.
Ma'am, how can I improve reading?
Practice, practice, and practice. Okay, I told her you must go through each and every, reading for after you've completed it, checked it again, take out a list of words, the list of words that were new to you, make that list, go through the list every single day. You will see many words are repeated. The list will become smaller and smaller with each passing reading, and your vocabulary will improve, and you will definitely improve in your reading on the whole. But it's all about practice. There are no short. All right.
Okay.
All right. Uh, in follow-up, you don't have to speak for 1 minute. That tip remains the same, Rohit. You have to speak till the examiner throws the next question at you. You may have to speak for 1 minute or just 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Till you satisfy the examiner, he will let you speak. Okay? Till you are making sense to the question, he'll let you speak. Or if he gets the feeling that you have not understood, you are digressing from the question, then he will ask the next question very soon. Okay? That is it. And now we come to the writing. For the academic and the GT students both, essay formats are the same. Okay? Essay formats are the same. Okay? I'll answer your question, Rohit. Just give me a second. How to handle the essay is the same for both academic and general students. There are three types, broad categories of essays: opinion, discuss, and problem solution. There's a fourth small category, that is the direct question essay, which I club with the problem solution essay. So basically, you should know how to handle the essays, and if you have the ideas for the essays, you are done with your writing. Now, essay handling class, uh, basically I've taken in 7 classes, 2 classes have been taken by Indrup. Those are repetitive classes, but please attend those 7 videos. 1 hour long videos and 50 minutes to 1 hour long videos. So how to handle each type of essay. There are no shortcuts to that. When you go through that video, please have your notebook and your pen in your hand and note down points. And yes, Andrea, you said you have some questions in your mind. You went through 2 videos and you have some questions in your mind. So you can share those questions. And Rohit's question about um, about, yes, he's asking whether we can memorize cue card from the PDF. Definitely you should not memorize anything, because when you memorize and blurt it out in the examination hall, in front of the examiner, he'll catch it. He or she'll catch it. And memorized answers never get a good band score. So even if you have memorized it, you have to speak over there as if you're just thinking of the next sentence and speaking. See, cramming is very different. Whatever you memorize with understanding, so that you can change over there. So my tip to you is here, for all the students here: whenever you get a cue card, below the cue card there are 3 to 4 cues, right? Answer each cue like a short question in 2 or 3 sentences each. Then what will happen is 30-40 seconds you will have answered the whole cue card. Then go on to expand it. So the cramming part will be taken care of. It will not look crammed. And as far as the examiner is concerned, once you have answered all the cues, he is satisfied. He may stop you before the actual 2 minutes. And that is not bad. That is quite normal. Okay. So this is about the cue card. And now we come to the essays. And I'll tell you one more thing. Howsoever much you read the essays, you have the ideas, the small mistakes that students do when they write the essays, um, they generally don't realize unless somebody corrects your writing, tells you that these are your mistakes, you have to look into these. Till that time, you will go on doing those mistakes. So you need somebody to give you feedback on your writing. You can find a teacher near you who can give you feedback in person. You can opt for our writing corrections. I am personally doing them and telling you all your mistakes. If anyone is here who is getting my writing feedbacks, you can tell how if they are helpful to you or not. I go into each small mistake when I give the feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
So each and every small mistake, if you pick up a red pencil in your hand and mark on your notebook as I speak out, you will see it will be like a teacher has checked in front of you. It'll be like that. So each and every mistake in an audio feedback is given, which has been very helpful for the past 4 years. I've been getting regular feedbacks from students that this is the best form of feedback, because if I check it, mark something wrong, correct it, and don't speak about it and tell to the student how it went wrong and what went wrong, that doesn't help. Okay. So that will help, Karthik. Once you start writing, you'll come to know that this is going to be helpful. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Yeah. And do attend those videos which I've shared one by one, because so over 6 or 7 hours we've taught how to handle essays, and that is there can be no shortcuts to that. Now regarding the graph is also very simple. You just have to describe whatever image is there in front of you in very simple English. So there are graphs which have been, formats, templates made for each type of graph. How to write a line graph in less than 10 sentences, how to write a column graph in less than 10 sentences. Please go through those videos on YouTube. They are public videos. If you search, you'll get to know. If you want links from me, I can send them to you. Very, very nicely explained. The content has been prepared by Indroop. Video have made, and they have also have been very, very helpful. So once you watch them and try writing the graph, you will find that it becomes very, very easy. Okay. Um, what you don't understand? What are the tips for solving a map? See, map class is also 1 hour, 2 classes I've taken on how to write a map. So I'll share the videos for those, very, very well explained. Andrea, they'll be very helpful. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, I was asking about the listening map. I mean,
Okay, when you get a map in the listening, it's, yes, that is one question which one of my other students also wanted to ask. So what I do personally is that when they speak, when there's a map given on the question paper, I imagine myself standing there. They say this is a starting point. Now you go straight, then I walk straight. I imaginary, I walk to the right is this, to the left is this immediately, and then I don't go and look at the legend time and again. I mark on the question paper, to the right is a library. I write library there because I don't want to take my eyes off the map. That is one tip which has helped many students. Okay, later on I'll see, okay, library is for A or B or C or D. Later on I'll see. Okay, so that I just keep my eyes on the map, and as they speak, I just walk with them. Okay, try that, Andrea. It'll help you.
sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. And uh, Rohit, what you don't understand, one cue card and explain. Do I need to finish a sentence and then continue answering the next question the examiner asks? See, if the examiner throws the next question, you can stop where it is. Okay, that means the examiner is politely, he's asking the next question, he's politely telling you that he's satisfied with your answer. Now you can stop speaking. Okay, that you can do.
Okay, ma'am.
Rohit, what is your, native language? Is it Punjabi or Hindi or what is it? Tell me. Which state are you from? So, see, in English, the sentence syntax is subject, verb, and object. And in Punjabi, it is subject, object, and verb. So you must learn to translate that, make simple sentences and translate. That is why I say that when you write simple sentences, I used to be surprised when I started teaching. I'm a gynecologist obstetrician, having practiced 33 years. But then, when I started teaching, teaching was new to me. I'd never taught before. One of my patients requested me that she has her two brother-in-laws. They want to move abroad. They want to, take the IELTS test, and there's nobody to guide them. And as I had good English, she requested me to do that. They were my beginning. I took them on and I taught them for 2 hours every day. 3, 4 months it took them to be ready and score a 5.5. In those days, 5.5, 2006, 7, 5.5 was all they needed. They got that score, and they got me many students, because no one ever thought they would even get a 5.5. Students have got a 7 or 8 band from me. They've never given me that much business as those two students gave me, who scored a 5.5 and 6 each. Oi, you got a 5.5? Where did you do the IELTS from? Tell us also. We'll also go there. So these things also I came to know. They seem funny, but well, those students were my beginning of this career, this profession. All right. So, simple English, I used to be very, very surprised when my very, basic students would get a 6.5, and those students who, in writing, and those students who had very good English would come out with a 5.5. Then I realized that there's something else to it. And then I started, s- uh, you know, thinking and contemplating what could they have done better, what could they have done wrong, other students. And over the years, in 6 years, my first book came out. I realized that the essay questions were being repeated, the graphs were being repeated. So 6 whole years, I kept, asking all my students who went for the test to come out of the hall, draw the graph, tell me the essay question. And after 6 years of collection of all those topics, I came out with my first book in 2012, I think. And since then, the books have been updated. And from the essay question is also being repeated. The graph question is also being repeated from the book now. It's such a huge collection now. Very rarely new questions are asked. In the whole year, I see only 3 or 4 new questions now. Most of the time, the questions are from the book. Even the reading passages are from the book most of the times. But well, it is, you can always get something new. I'm not saying that is the end of the syllabus. Of course not. Okay. Rohit, what do you want one cue card and explain? Let me know what you mean by that. So writing benefits you only after you get some feedbacks from someone who has corrected you and told you these are your mistakes. Work into them.
Ma'am,
Yes.
what about the diagram given in the task first?
The map question in the task one?
The process, the diagram, the figure
Process,
is given over
yes.
there.
There are, see, each and every type of graph I've taken up separate class to teach that. That has taken about 1 hour each class. So go through these videos. You'll sit with your notebook and pencil in your hand. Most of your questions will be answered. If there's still any query in your mind, you can always ask me in an audio message. I'll explain that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Ultimately, reading, listening are in your hand. Keep practicing every day. Some students say, okay, ma'am, first I will do listenings for a few days, then I'll do readings, then I'll do writings, and then speaking, then I'll take the test. That is not the way. Practice all 4 things every single day, at least for 1 month before you actually sit the exam. Okay? Any questions that are coming up in your mind? Karthik, is that orientation enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You asked for it. So I said I'll arrange a class.
Yeah.
Andrea, any other questions in your mind?
Ma'am, do we actually need to mention a few reasons in the introduction while writing an essay? Because, for example, like why positives outweigh the disadvantages or
So Andrea, most of what I'm saying, it's an all or none law. Either write all or write none. Leave it
okay.
to the body of the essay. If you write just one, it will not make sense. See, the essay doesn't rest on that one point. So in the introduction, keep it general. Mostly, you know, with just a 2 sentence introduction, most of my students have got a 7.5. Those who have good English. Okay. Those who can carry well their English, you know, for them, all the tips don't, it doesn't matter. They can manage in their own style also and get a good band score. But for the average student, you know, what my results have been, a student getting 5.56 in listening, 5.56 in reading, 5.56 in speaking also gets a 7 in writing in a very simple format, which they can write. That level of student can write that much. They do write only that much. They still come out with a 7 at times. You get my point, Andrea?
Yes, ma'am.
So simple writing is always beneficial. Okay. You have good English, you can go a little bit. And you know, one thing more, never write just 250 words. That will never fetch you a good band score. That is what I have seen over the last 18 years. Most of our students who got a 7, 7.5, above that have written 280 plus words. 280 to 320 is the ideal length. You can even go up till 350 or 400. There's no penalty for over length.
I think I need to work on that, ma'am.
Yes, you need to work on that. And if you will, you'll definitely get a good score.
Yes.
Introduction, conclusion should be the same. Don't write a different thing in the conclusion. Words can be different, but the meaning of that should be the same. There should be uniformity in your essay. For example, if in the introduction you write, I agree strongly with the given thing, and then you write write one paragraph of the opposite side also, it will be totally wrong. And conclusion also should say the same thing what you have said in the introduction. Don't change anything. Don't write a new conclusion. Don't add any new point in the conclusion. Okay. And in the body paragraphs, the topic sentences are very important. Supposing you have to write a paragraph of reasons. My student, a very simple student who does just have a very basic English, will say there are many reasons why there is youth unemployment, full stop. She will get a 7.5. And students who will not write a good topic sentence but have very good English and will not give this topic sentence, which is a gist of the paragraph to come, they sometimes fail to get even a 7. So topic sentences are also very important. Okay.
Okay.
A topic sentence is that sentence of the paragraph which tells the examiner what is going to come in that paragraph. And a thesis statement is that sentence of the introduction which tells the examiner what is going to be seen in the whole essay. That is it. I think I've answered all the basic questions which most of you had. If there's any other question in your mind, do ask me now. I'll be happy to, get this. So this orientation class, I think I've taken first time. Okay. After a long time, maybe. Yes.
Ma'am, I have another question.
Yes.
Ma'am, for example, do we need to write, like, although shopping is bad for the environment, its importance for the consumer should not be overlooked, something like that, for agree and
Yes,
disagree?
although and while statements are used when you want to go two-sided in your essay. These are very important statements. If you can make an although or while statement very nicely, you can go two-sided. See, you can either in any agree, disagree essay, you cannot agree and disagree with the same thing, that you know. That is a common
Yes.
logic. You cannot say this is good and this is bad. Okay. So you cannot agree and disagree with one thing, but you can agree with a concession. You can either strongly agree or disagree, or you can agree with a concession. And concession you show with an although sentence. That although online shopping has a few disadvantages, overall the advantages are far more. Then you will make one paragraph of disadvantages and two of advantages. Got it, Andrea? That's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
very good thing to do in the introduction. If you can make an although and while statement nicely, you can go two-sided. You don't need many points then for your essay, and you can make a good lengthy essay.
Ma'am, if that is the case, I need to put this sentence in the introduction, right?
Yes, that is an introduction and a conclusion sentence.
Okay.
Okay, that is the thesis statement which will fetch you 7.5.
Okay.
Okay,
Ma'am,
and you
if
are
I'm
making it.
strongly agreeing, do
Yeah.
I need to put the sentence?
No, then you will not put this sentence. Then you are
Okay.
not strong. This is a sentence which you write when you want to go two-sided.
I think that is where I went wrong, ma'am, because I have written, like, I strongly agree, and I put a statement, like, although there are another sides,
No,
like
no,
one
then,
sentence. Yeah,
then
okay.
that is not strongly agreeing. Na? So if
Okay.
you say I strongly agree that online shopping has advantages, then you will not put a single disadvantage.
Okay.
Okay, that is it. So when you go through
But we can
those,
compare.
yes, just
We can compare if we strongly agree one side. We can compare it with the other side.
you strongly agree. Then when you are putting your point there, then of course you can say that is wrong. Whatever negative people have in mind is wrong. I strongly agree that online shopping is all good. See, you can say that people say your credit card can be hacked. You can say that nowadays in online shopping, credit card also is not needed. You can always go for cash on delivery. Okay, then there's no negative of that also. And the return policies of many good sites are also very good. So you don't even have the option think of being, cheated or duped online shopping. Like that, you can say. Is it?
Okay.
All right. So one thing, I put up my video after a long time, and I wanted all of you also to show me give me a hi with your, nicely. Is it possible, or you don't want that? You can switch on your video for just 1 second and tell me if you liked the class or not. All right, that's fine. So see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Writing, we are on the, tourism essays. I'm going to complete the tourism essays tomorrow. And I think we'll be beginning with the crime essays or the media essays tomorrow. Okay, ideas for those. Okay, then see you tomorrow morning. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.